Christmas movie stars someone who also voiced a famous animated cat? Give me the movie. Be the first to answer correctly. Get pinned to the top. Bonus points if you know the actor. Heck, bonus points if you know the cat. Today we are reading about Mickey's Christmas Carol. If I'm being honest here, this is my number one. This one right here is actually my number one Christmas movie because I saw it so many times when I was a kid, like in the 80s, and I just have really good memories of it, feeling safe in whatever room you're watching it, on the floor, eating good food with the vignettes of various Dickens stories being played in Disney fashion, as we're going to read about. Here we go. Mickey's Christmas Carol. Mickey's Christmas Carol is a 1983 American animated family comedy drama featurette directed and produced by Bernie Mattinson. The cartoon is an adaptation of Charles Dickens' 1843 novella, A Christmas Carol, and stars Scrooge McDuck as Ebenezer Scrooge. Many other Disney characters, primarily from the Mickey Mouse universe, as well as Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio, and characters from Robin Hood and The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, were cast throughout the film. The featurette was produced by Walt Disney Pictures and released by Buena Vista Distribution on December 16, 1983, with the reissue of The Rescuers in the United States. It was first aired on television on NBC on December 10, 1984. I apologize, there are torrential downpours in our area right now, so I hope it is calming to you. You should be hearing rain in the background right now. Let me continue. Mickey's Christmas Carol was largely adapted from the 1974 Disneyland Records audio musical, an adaptation of Dickens' Christmas Carol. The musical featured similar dialogue and similar cast of characters, with the exception of the first and last Christmas ghosts. This was the first original Mickey Mouse theatrical cartoon produced in over 30 years. With the exception of re-releases, Mickey had not appeared in movie theaters since the short film The Simple Things in 1953. The graveyard sequence was also the first time Disney tested the APT process. Many additional characters seen in the film had also not appeared in a theatrical cartoon for several decades. The film was also the last time in which Clarence Nash voiced Donald Duck. Nash was the only original voice actor in the film, as Walt Disney, Mickey Mouse, and Pinto Golvig Goofy had died in the 1960s. Bill Thompson, Scrooge McDuck, Cliff Edwards, Jiminy Cricket, and Billy Gilbert, Willie the Giant in 1971, and Billy Bletcher, Pete and the Big Bad Wolf in 1979. It was also the first time in animation that Scrooge McDuck as Ebenezer Scrooge was voiced by actor Alan Young, who had first voiced the character on the musical album. Young would continue to be the primary voice actor for McDuck until the actor's death in 2016. The film was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film in 1984, but lost to Jimmy Picker's Sunday in New York. It was the first nomination for a Mickey Mouse short since Mickey and the Seal in 1948. The plot. On Christmas Eve in 19th century London, Ebenezer Scrooge, played by Scrooge McDuck, is a surly moneylender who is very selfish with his money and objects to the merriment of Christmas. He refuses to give money to a panhandler outside outside his office, declines his nephew Fred, Donald Duck's invitation to Christmas dinner, then brushes off two gentlemen, Rat and Mole, fundraising aid for the poor. His loyal employee, Bob Cratchit, Mickey Mouse, requests to have half of Christmas Day off, to which Scrooge reluctantly accepts, but says Cratchit would be docked half a day's pay. Scrooge continues his business and goes home just before midnight. As he enters his house, Scrooge enters the ghost of his former business partner, Jacob Marley, Goofy, who warns him that robbing the widows and swindling the poor was wrong, and that, as a result, Marley is condemned in the afterlife, and the same thing will happen to Scrooge if he doesn't change his ways. Scrooge becomes frightened and asks for help, and Marley informs him that he will be visited by 3 spirits that night, and that he should listen to them and do what they say. At 1 o'clock, Scrooge is visited by the ghost of Christmas past, Jiminy Cricket, who takes him back in time to his early adult life. They visit his time as an employee under Fezziwig, Mr. Toad. Fezziwig throws a Christmas party where the young Scrooge meets a young woman named Isabel, Daisy Duck, whom he falls in love with. However, the ghost shows Scrooge how, over time, he came to love money more than Isabel, and, as a result, Isabel left him when he chose money over her. A distraught Scrooge asks the ghost to return him to the present, and the ghost grants his request, but reminds him that he created this past himself. Scrooge is left in his bed, lamenting his past actions. At 2 o'clock, Scrooge meets the gigantic merry ghost of Christmas present, Willie the Giant. The ghost takes Scrooge to an old, decrepit home, which is revealed to be Bob Cratchit's house. Scrooge is shocked to see that their Christmas dinner for their family of 5 consists of barely enough food to feed one person, but sees that Cratchit's family is surprisingly content with their small dinner. Scrooge takes pity on Bob's ill son, Tiny Tim, played by Morty Mouse. The ghost comments that if things don't change for the family, Tiny Tim will not live to see many future Christmases, and then disappears, leaving a bewildered Scrooge begging for clarification. Scrooge is then transported to a cemetery where he meets the ghost of Christmas future, later revealed to be Pete, who initially appears as a silent, cloaked, cigar-smoking figure. When Scrooge inquires about Tiny Tim, the ghost points to a grave site in the distance where Bob and his family are mourning Tiny Tim's death. As a devastated Scrooge asks if this event can be changed, he sees 2 grave diggers, the Weasels, who are amused that no one attended the funeral of the man they are burying. As soon as the grave diggers are gone, Scrooge creeps closer and asks who the grave belongs to. The ghost reveals the man who died to be none other than Scrooge himself, and shoves him into the grave, where his empty coffin opens to reveal the gateway to hell. Now terrified out of his wits, Scrooge decides to change his ways once and for all, and begs for the ghost to let him out. Scrooge suddenly awakens in his bedroom on Christmas morning. He is happy that the spirits gave him a second chance, and makes plans to do good to all the people he had been selfish with. He decides to surprise Bob's family with a turkey dinner and Christmas toys, and ventures out to spread happiness and joy around London. He accepts Fred's invitation to Christmas dinner, and then donates a sizable amount of money to the gentleman he earlier spurned. Scrooge then goes to the Cratchit house, at first putting on a stern demeanor. Scrooge reveals he brought food and gifts for them, and intends on raising Bob's salary reception. Film critic Leonard Maltin stated that rather than being a pale attempt to imitate the past, the film is cleverly written, well staged, and animated with real spirit and a sense of fun. Robin Allen stated that the film calls to mind the similarities between Walt Disney and Charles Dickens in terms of both the work they produced and their work ethic. However, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert of At the Movies gave it 2 thumbs down, as they were both disappointed. Siskel felt there was not enough emphasis on Mickey's character, in spite of the title, and that it did not rank with most of Disney's full-length animated features. Ebert stated it lacked the magic of visual animation that the Disney people are famous for, and that it was a forced march through the Charles Dickens story without any ironic spin. Mickey's Christmas Carol was nominated for an Academy Award as Best Animated Short Subject of 1983. Colin Greenland reviewed Mickey's Christmas Carol for Imagine magazine and stated that it is surprising how entertaining this is, perhaps because it is actually a Scrooge McDuck movie, of course, with the Effet rodent very much in a minor role as Bob Cratchit. Releases. Mickey's Christmas Carol premiered in the UK on October 20th, 1983, alongside a reissue of The Jungle Book, and was released in the US on December 16th, 1983, with a Christmas 1983 reissue of The Rescuers. It has been broadcast on various television stations throughout the years. It started on NBC with 12 new additional sepia title cards illustrated by Michael Peraza Jr. to match the 12 he had done for the original film to help bridge the segments together. It went on to air on the Disney Channel 1987 through 99, 2002 through 06, and CBS from 91 to 96. Occasionally on ABC, before moving permanently to ABC Family. It was aired on Toon Disney in 2008. The run on ABC Family includes Winnie the Pooh and Christmas 2 and was part of their 25 Days of Christmas, but with several abrupt edits including the chocolate pot roast with yogurt line and Marley tripping on the stairs and falling down, letting out a goofy holler. In Canada, it airs on CBC and has been aired every Christmas season since 1985. It typically airs the Sunday before Christmas. For many years, the short film would air on CBC as a 1-hour program, as mentioned below. In addition, Mickey's Christmas Carol would be shown unmatted. In recent years, however, Mickey's Christmas Carol is only aired in a half-hour time slot and in high-definition matted widescreen, presumably to be more suited for modern television screens. The aforementioned broadcasts in the 1980s and early 1990s spanned a full hour, with the first half consisting of the following older cartoon shorts: Donald's Snow Fight, Pluto's Christmas Tree, and The Art of Skiing. Each of the 4 items in the program was preceded by a narrative wraparound segment in which one of the Disney cartoon characters, Donald, Pluto with Mickey translating, Goofy and Mickey respectively, would talk about his favorite Christmas, thus leading into the cartoon in question. From 1988 onwards, The Art of Skiing was excluded from the annual broadcast, replaced at the end of the hour by one segment or another. The 1993 telecast, for example, featured a behind-the-scenes featurette on The Nightmare Before Christmas. Later broadcasts simply reduced the time slot to half an hour, showing Mickey's Christmas Carol by itself. A clip of this film in Swedish was shown on Donald Duck Duck's 50th birthday to illustrate Donald's international appeal. This short film was featured in Disney's Magical Mirror starring Mickey Mouse. The shot of Mickey holding Tiny Tim's crutch is also seen in the opening of Epic Mickey. As for home media, the short film was released several times on VHS and Laserdisc throughout the 1980s and 1990s. Some editions featured the making of Mickey's Christmas Carol as a bonus. The short is also featured without its opening credits in the direct-to-home release Mickey's Magical Christmas Snowed In at the House of Mouse. It is also available on the 9th volume of the Walt Disney Classic Cartoon Favorites DVD collection, as well as in the Walt Disney Treasures set Mickey Mouse in Living Color Volume 2. However, the latter is the only DVD to be released in its theatrical 1.66:1 widescreen aspect ratio. However, it is simply cropping the 1.33:1 version. The short is also on the Disney Animation Collection Volume 7 DVD, 1.33:1. On November 5th, 2013, the 30th anniversary edition of this short was released on DVD and for the first time on Blu-ray. However, it was further cropped to 1.78:1 widescreen and featured a heavy use of noise reduction. Various other shorts were included in the DVD. And it was a huge part of David Whisper's childhood. I want that to be added to the article, please. I haven't watched it in a really long time, and I really should. This was a pretty cool article. It was very short. I would love for there to have been some talk about the creation process of it. And I'm sure if we kind of dug a little deeper rabbit hole, if you will, a little bit, we could probably learn a little bit more. But what I am really jazzed about is that they brought up 3 shorts that I completely forgot about and am thrilled they reminded me of Donald's Snow Fight, Pluto's Christmas Tree, and The Art of Skiing. Pluto's Christmas Tree, I believe, is, oh my gosh, people, you know what we're doing. I don't think this is going to be a short video after all. I want to go into each one of these. That's what we're doing. I want to read about Donald's Snow Fight, Pluto's Christmas Tree, and The Art of Skiing. Let's do it. Okay. This guy, and you, and you. Okay. Okay, let's see what it has to say about Donald's Snow Fight. Donald's Snow Fight is an animated short film featuring classic cartoon character Donald Duck in a Civil War-esque snowball fight with his nephews Huey, Dewey, and Louie. It was released in 1942 by Walt Disney Productions. The plot. The short begins with Donald wiping the fog off his glass door, excited to see the snow. Wearing a fur overcoat, Donald goes out to play with a sled while singing Jingle Bells. When Donald reaches the top of the hill, he notices his nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, at the bottom building a snowman while singing For He's a Jolly Good Fellow. Tempted, Donald crashes his sled into their snowman and thus his nephews, resulting each of them to wear a part of their snowman. Donald laughs himself silly afterwards, which prompted the angry trio to plot revenge. The nephews craft another snowman, this one a silly-looking one that vaguely looks like Donald, around a boulder before calling out, "Here's Uncle Donald." Irked by the unflattering caricature, Donald attempts to crash smash the snowman, only to crash into the boulder underneath it, destroying his sled and the shock wave shaking off all of the furs on his overcoat, save for one that Donald touches with his finger to stop its shaking and pulls it out. The nephews happily laugh themselves silly, prompting an angry Donald to chase after them, blowing snow off a couple making out on a park bench in the process. Eventually, the nephews escape into an ice fortress that they made, with Donald crashing into the bedspring drawbridge, sending him flying backwards and crashing into a tree, causing the ice on it to come down around him like cage as he is covered in snow to make him look like a rhino. As the nephews sing London Bridge, Donald bursts out of the ice and snow before declaring war on the boys by building himself a snow battleship. Donald starts off a small barrage of snowballs, which results in the nephews looking like bowling pins. Donald then uses a bowling ball-like snowball to strike them out. Donald then pulls out a bucket of water, dips a snow chunk in it, and creates an ice missile, which he calls Big Bertha. He launches it and splits the nephew's flagpole in 3 spots, spanking all 3 of them. Despite the pain they endured, the nephews angrily refused to surrender to Donald and instead started creating snow missiles of their own while getting 3 other objects: a picnic basket, some rope, and some mouse traps. They place the mouse traps inside the rocket-shaped projectile and stick them in the picnic basket, now with the string tied to it. Huey, Dewey, and Louie soon launch the basket and release the missiles, with Donald getting hit by several of them, sending him, burying him, and covering him in mouse traps, which sends him into his usual tantrum. With Huey commanding them with a wooden sword, Louie and Dewey started launching snowballs from a catapult, much to Donald's frustration. "That's unconstitutional," quacks the duck angrily, with one of them even sending him through the wall of the top of his ship and making a snow-like impression of his head. The nephews then spear hot coal onto arrows while singing the battle hymn of the Republic and launch them into the top of the battleship as well, creating a skull-like structure around Donald. As a final attack, they launch a huge flaming piece of coal into the base of Donald's ship. As Donald declares he'll exterminate the boys, he realizes his ship is starting to melt, with only the mast he's standing on remaining, with it eventually melting away as well, leaving Donald to fall into the hole in the frozen lake below, resulting in him being frozen in a palm tree-shaped prison of ice. To celebrate their victory, the triplets perform a stereotypical ceremonious Native American dance around the icicle. This later performance was edited out of later broadcasts of the clip due to perceived political incorrectness. This short was featured as part of the edited collection Donald and His Duckling Gang from 1979 and is featured in From All of Us to All of You, which is shown on TV every Christmas in the Scandinavian countries. This short was one of the many featured in Donald Duck's 50th birthday. The short aired as part of the original broadcast TV airing of Mickey's Christmas Carol, but was replaced on the 35th anniversary edition home media release with The Hockey Champ. So there is Donald's snow fight. A lot of edits need to happen with this article. I don't know if you caught that, but I had to reread several things to make them correct grammatically. Either way, though, obviously, we appreciate Wikipedia and even having this article in the first place to reminisce. Let's move on to Pluto's Christmas tree. This one was cool. This had Chip and Dale in it. I remember this one. This is great. Pluto Pluto's Christmas Tree is a 1952 Mickey Mouse cartoon in which Pluto and Mickey cut down a Christmas tree that Chip and Dale live in. It was the 125th short in the Mickey Mouse film series to be released, and the second for that year. While the Chipmunks are usually antagonists of Donald Duck, they have pestered Pluto before in Private Pluto and Squatter's Rights. It is one of the few Disney shorts directed by Jack Hanna not to star Donald Duck, although Donald does make a cameo at the end. The plot. Mickey Mouse and Pluto are searching for a Christmas tree while Chip and Dale are looking for acorns in the forest. Once the Chipmunks see Pluto, they hit him with acorns and escape as he pursues them. Once Pluto is distracted, they hide in a tree. Mickey chops down that very tree, unaware that the two are in it. Once they get home, Mickey and Pluto decorate the tree, and Pluto admires it, but then he notices a light going on and off and investigates it. Dale, who is playing with the light, mistakes Pluto's nose for another light and twists it, revealing himself to Pluto, who then barks at him. Dale retaliates by throwing down ornaments to distract him. Mickey comes by and takes the ornaments from Pluto, unknowingly hanging one of them on Dale, who Pluto fails to alert Mickey to. Pluto then spots Dale stealing chestnuts and chases him up the top of the fireplace with Santa candle figures. Dale takes a hat and beard from one of the candle figures as a disguise. Pluto notices the strange figure, but he again fails to expose him to Mickey. Frustrated, Pluto knocks the other figures away except Dale. Chip then notices from the tree what is going on. He rescues Dale and heads for the tree. Pluto briefly gets his feet stuck in presents as he gives chase, and has difficulty following the Chipmunks up the ladder. As Pluto barks at the Chipmunks, they cause the ladder to fall and drop the star on top of the tree onto Pluto's tail. While the Chipmunks laugh in victory, Pluto, finally pushed beyond his patience, angrily dives into the tree to attack the Chipmunks. Mickey notices Pluto and tries to pull him out, but gets pulled in instead until the tree is stripped of its decorations and leaves. Mickey scolds Pluto for what he did, but notices Chip and Dale with only a few decorations and all of the branches bare, finally realizing what's really going on. Pluto starts barking at the Chipmunks for the trouble they caused until Mickey tells him to stop, saying that it's just the holidays. At the window, they see Donald Duck, Goofy, and Minnie Mouse singing Deck the Halls, while Mickey's friends are singing. Chip and Dale join in, and then Pluto howls in as well, much to the Chipmunks' irritation. They then respond by placing a sticker over Pluto's mouth that reads, "Do not open till Christmas." I remember that. This is such a cool trip down memory lane. Other uses. What are we seeing here? The other uses for it. Scenes from this cartoon would be used for Disney's Very Merry Christmas songs. It would be used for Deck the Halls and Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. Deck the Halls would use scenes from this cartoon only, and Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow only uses a small portion from this cartoon. Scenes would also be used for other Disney collections, including A Disney Christmas Gift. Scenes from this cartoon, along with scenes from Mickey's Christmas Carol, were also set to DTV's video of Brenda Lee's Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. A book published in 1954 from Little Golden Books called Donald Duck's Christmas Tree has the same plot as this cartoon, but with Donald Duck instead of Mickey Mouse. I had that book. The Encyclopedia of Walt Disney's Characters mistakenly credits Horace Horsecollar and Clarabelle Cow as appearing in this cartoon. home media. The short was released on May 18th, 2004 on Walt Disney Treasures Mickey Mouse in Living Color, Volume 2, 1939 to today. Additional releases include a Walt Disney Christmas that was VHS, 1981 to 86. That would be my jam. Mickey's Magical Christmas, Snowed In at the House of Mouse, VHS, 2001 and 2009. Cartoon is a segment in the film. Walt Disney's Classic Cartoon Favorites, Volume 9, Classic Holiday Stories. Walt Disney Animation Collection, Classic Short Films, Volume 7, Mickey's Christmas Carol. Mickey's Christmas Carol 30th Anniversary Edition in 2013, and lastly in 2019 on Disney Plus streaming. I'm absolutely going to stream that. You know what? When we're done with this next one, the one where we learn about Goofy skiing, I'm going to go watch this. I'm going to turn it on and pass out. It's such a cool short cartoon series. Okay, The Art of Skiing. The Art of Skiing is a Goofy cartoon made by Walt Disney Productions in 1941. It has historical significance as the first cartoon to use the now famous Goofy hauler, as well as the short that led to the How To series, beginning with How to Play Baseball in 1942 and continuing through How to Hook Up Your Home Theater. Some notes. Goofy goes to Sugar Bowl Ski Resort to learn how to ski. The name of the resort can be seen in the opening frames of the cartoon. Sugar Bowl Ski Resort was used because Walt Disney had an interest in the Sugar Bowl ski area, to the extent that one of the peaks at Sugar Bowl is named Mount Disney after him. The narrator and the opening titles mention an alternate and correct pronunciation of skiing as sheeing, despite the narrator mostly pronouncing it vice versa throughout the short. Another Goofy cartoon featured Goofy himself mentioning this to an ancient Greek. This was the first cartoon to use the signature Goofy holler. It is the only vocal uttered by Goofy in the short. And we have the releases. Funny, we don't have the plot. But in 1941, obviously the theatrical release. In 56, Disneyland episode 2.24, The Goofy Sports Story. In 72, The Mouse Factory episode number 17, Sports. In 76, Superstar Goofy on TV. 83 was on Good Morning Mickey episode number 80. 83, A Disney Channel Christmas, 1992. So skipping about a decade there, Mickey's Mouse Tracks episode number 36. 1997, The Ink and Paint Club episode number 3. Sports Goofy. Have a Laugh in 2010 episode number 6. And lastly in 2010, Mickey's Christmas Special. Several on home media. VHS running through DVD from 1981 to 2018. And lastly, we have references. So, I say we covered, at least to my satisfaction, my trip down memory lane of Mickey's Christmas Carol and these three very, I don't want to say influential, but impactful shorts. It seems weird to say they're impactful, but hey, every Christmas I remember Mickey's Christmas Carol, and I completely forgot about these three shorts. The snowball fight with Donald Duck, and this, The Art of Skiing, and Pluto's Christmas Tree with Chip and Dale's. They're just such good times. I remember those, so I'm gonna go and relive those right now. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone. Good times. Happy holidays. I'll talk to you in the comments. Have a good night. Bye-bye.